Now it's on the phone, to be honest.
No.
Even if you stop watching
I'll be honest.
television, there'll be notifications on your phone.
I'm not going to lie. The funniest thing this morning, I was searching for old Nokia phones on Hepsiburdan. I really was. I was like,
What model were you looking for?
I don't remember. Like 5130. You know,
Yeah, they were
440 lira. I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, good deal.
So the texting's hard, but yeah, maybe I'll do it. You know, really.
Nice. Hello, everyone. We have Scott today. Hello, Scott.
Hello, how are you?
I'm
nice
fine.
to be
How
here.
are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. So let's start maybe with an introduction.
Okay.
Maybe you want to introduce yourself to our audience?
A little bit, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, my name's Scott Gary. I know David through Meet to Talk. I'm a English teacher and writer here in Istanbul, Turkey. I'm American and I'm from California. I grew up in California. I left California for New York after university. Then I lived in New York City for about 20 years. I've got sisters, a brother, and I came to Istanbul, I guess, in 2019.
Great.
That's about it.
Nice. Just one little thing about the New York journey.
Mm-hmm.
You owned a bar in New York.
I did. I owned a bar in New
How
York.
did you end up owning a bar?
I guess just by a stupid accident, but I wanted it. So, you know, it's like a guy I remember who was also a bar owner, talking to him a lot and getting some advice. And I just remember him saying, yeah, be careful what you wish for, you know, and he was right. He was right.
Was it challenging?
It's a huge challenge, yeah. More the building and the opening and the time that goes in before it's actually a place where the public can come is still the most challenging thing I've ever experienced in my life. It's all day, every day. I didn't have a huge budget, so the work was mostly on my shoulders, all of it, physical, mental, administrative, everything. And it really changed me a lot. So
It's not that cool.
It's not the cool part, yeah. But I have no regrets about it. I sold it 1 year later because I started asking myself, what am I doing here? I was 38, I think 38, and thinking, maybe 37, I don't remember. And thinking, is this my life now? I did this.
I like those moments. Every once in a while, you face those questions like, what am I doing right now here with my life?
Yeah. And so I said, no, I'm not going to do this for the next 20, 30 years and, you know, be a bar owner in New York City. But I had to do it to find out, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
And really pushed me in a different direction.
Get it. And then somehow you end up in Istanbul.
That's right.
Was that Istanbul you wanted to move to, or was it somewhere else?
After that experience, I was still in New York for a couple of years, and I started traveling a lot internationally. And my best friend has been a teacher in China for 10 years now. He's becoming a principal now. And I remember in 2016, 2015, I just remember him getting a text from him, and it said, meet me in Bangkok on February 9th. You know?
Gangster.
Totally. Because it was his Chinese New Year holiday, and I had a lot of freedom at the time, just kind of working as a consultant and so on. So, okay, I'll do it. And I went to Southeast Asia for a month and spent time with him and really started to kind of open my eyes to the way my life is now, I guess. And then I came back to New York. Then I went to Iceland. Then I went to South America.
Iceland?
Yeah.
And then South America.
Yeah.
Wow, you're just, checking all my task list, and my dreams. Iceland, how Iceland? And then South America, where?
First place I went in South America was Buenos Aires. I have a very close friend there. Yeah. Spent another few weeks there, in Chile also, and Peru. Mostly Argentina and Peru. On my own, just traveling by myself. And the last stop on that kind of 2-year-long journey was Istanbul. I had some friends in New York, Turkish guys and girls that were always saying, oh, you should go to Turkey and so on. So I said, oh yeah, okay. They had some cousins, friends, etc. Yeah, meet my friend. Go ahead, do it. So I came here for 10 days. I came to Kadıköy on their recommendation.
Yeah, it was like a first visit with Kadıköy, yeah.
My first experience was staying at an Airbnb on Kuşdili, like right there. I kept thinking, okay, I'm going to move. I'm going to leave the United States. And where should it be? Vietnam, Peru, Turkey. I just didn't want to live in the EU. I didn't want to live in a Western country. I wanted a different experience. And I said, okay, this is more doable. I'm used to New York. It's still has a bit of a Western vibe. It's not so radical change of, going to...
Wise choice.
Yeah, so I just did it. And, mainly I did it on the back of a teaching contract at a high school.
Yeah.
And, I'd gotten my teaching certification later. And, okay, I'll try this, whatever. And I came and started teaching here. That's it. And then I quit teaching here. I mean, for the school, Well, that's basically it. Now it's almost 4 years.
That's the story of the last 4 years.
That's basically the last 4 years, yeah.
Nice. Quite a journey. I mean, you try to make it short and brief, but I believe that there are many details, and probably I assume there are too many enlightenments you had and perspective change.
Yeah, definitely. Looking back, when I say looking back, I mean kind of the first thing that really blew my mind was being in Asia and with my friend of now 30-something years sitting in Hanoi and
Vietnam.
Yeah, in Vietnam, and talking about our country. And, it was just that moment of realizing, oh my God, like we're actually the most propagandized people in the world. And so propagandized that we don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And we were having this talk, and it was like a real eye-opener. I started to see other people's perspectives a lot more clearly, and I started, learning a lot more from my travels and the people I met and so on.
Now moving to Datça, you
somewhere in the south, yeah, somewhere in the somewhere in the south of Turkey, yeah, on the Mediterranean, yeah. I made that decision. Honestly, I was really considering it after I quit the teaching at schools, and I was thinking, why am I still in the city? I can do more. I can teach privately. I can do this. I gave up my work permit, and first I started looking at Ayvalık. I really like it there. I almost rented a house there a couple of years ago, and someone talked me out of it and said, no, you got 1 more year in Istanbul. I said, okay. So I found a house and met you right after that, actually. And that's part of it. It's really part of it. But being away from the city and having a more clear perspective is helpful for me.
So jealous of that, to be honest.
Yeah, but you have time, Like I could be jealous of your age and how much time you have too. So it's just I couldn't imagine not living in New York 10 years ago or 15 years ago, or in the middle of a big city. All the action, all of the excitement and everything, it was this, I couldn't imagine. I get away and, get FOMO and all the same kind of stuff. So it's just part of the journey. You get older and that's what happens. Want to go somewhere else? Go and get some chickens, milk some cows.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm imagining my retirement would be.
You do it,
Yeah. Nice. I have some questions prepared for you.
Go ahead, challenge me. It's going to be so hard.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with a sentence. To be honest, I want to know what do you think about this sentence. I was thinking about it last few days. So I heard it from somewhere. It says humans are born butterflies and die like caterpillars.
It makes me think of a picture I saw yesterday of an old man with a walker, wheels and walking along.
Yeah.
And then a little boy next to him with the same thing, but it's a toy.
Yeah.
And the old man's looking at the child. And so maybe that's a good analogy. It's like we are on some kind of cycle. We're going back to where we came from. I'm not sure, but I think being born butterfly makes a lot of sense. What happens to us when we're young? We're wide open to the world and every possibility.
the source of this concept, when I thought about it the last few days, I was thinking that humans, when we're babies, when we're infants, maybe we are so open. There are no social label, no social code, nothing to be committed to, and we are no ego, maybe. And we are so open. I mean, you don't even, when you're a baby, you don't even feel like going to the bathroom.
No.
So, and then you grow up, and then the school happens. Do you think that's the first thing, or the family is? Media is?
Family. Well, the first thing that starts affecting you is, I mean, for me, I think it's definitely family. Probably more specifically mother. But yeah, once you step into that classroom, and I mean, I still have very vivid memories of preschool before kindergarten, like 4 or 5 years old. So then you start this socialization process. But also, it's like everything we know now, there's still these very deep beliefs that we hold. And we don't need evidence, we don't need evidence. We just accept it. The whole idea of life for me is like, I feel like I'm in a realm of some kind, experiencing this, and just do my best to try to stay positive and, like, if I can, help people. But yeah, absolutely, we're wide open, and then it starts with the Prussian education system. Sit in the desks in a row.
Hours and years.
And the teacher is saying, shut up and listen.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do. And if we're lucky, I guess, in university, probably you've experienced it too. You find, some professor that goes a little bit outside of the lines.
A little bit, yeah.
A little, and they open you up a bit and make you think a little. But even in that case, it's like they have to protect their tenure and not go too crazy, because they have to keep their job. But I don't know. I mean, then you have, for me, like, other experiences of my early 20s and getting away from my family and sort of being on my own and independent. You start to experiment with different social groups and all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
And there you go. It just starts changing, I think, for all of us, really. I mean, unless some people stay with their parents a lot longer, which I think is also not so bad. But it can kind of, in some way, infantilize people a little bit. I hope I don't become a caterpillar.
Yeah, well, I wish the best for you on that.
We'll see.
Well, I'm not really sure.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that. The education that you brought up, sometimes when I talk to Turkish people, for any problem they have, they say, we need to work on education.
Yeah.
We need to have more education. And sometimes I think to myself that, I mean, education at the end of the day is a mechanism. It's going to be designed by the people from the culture you're blaming, and it's going to be performed and executed by the people belong to the culture you're blaming.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day. So how can education change at the end of the day? It seems like, to me, education is more like a tool to prepare people for the market. And to become workers and then laborers and managers who design systems.
Absolutely.
I really doubt how education can help anything, basically.
I really agree and think about something like this current sort of system in the West, but it's not just the West. I mean, like I said, my best friend's been in China for a long time, and these kids are arriving at school at 7 a.m. and leaving at 5, and then they have 2 or 3 days per week of what we would say études, they go for 3 more hours, but this education system, that's, at least from my perspective in the United States, there's a famous quote by John D. Rockefeller, and he said, I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. So when you said that, it's exactly that. They're training you to be, at best, a middle manager, and if you're incredibly talented and also probably lacking in moral stature, you may become an executive. So that's the way I feel. I mean, it's not absolute, but it's my observations.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty visible in the society when we see that and when I look back the last 20 years. last 30 years even, we had major progress in technology on making things faster, on moving things faster, on making things on a bigger scale. But how much did we really work on human values? How much did we really work on, giving people freedom by helping them to think and to question and to be doubtful about things? Yeah. We just give people certainty, and we make them do things faster, and that's kind of like a vision for me, seeing that this whole education system is contributing to the market at the end of the day, as you said.
I agree. I do. I mean, people go into this and. I have young students now, Turkish kids that are teenagers, and the amount of stress they're put under. And it's like I tell them, relax, don't worry about it. But the teachers at the school and oftentimes their parents are saying, no, worry about it a lot. They're losing sleep, they're stressing out, they're freaking out all the time. And I'm totally...
Fear.
Yeah. I'm totally the opposite,
Such a concept is this fear in everything, when it comes to politics of fear, we have economy of fear, we have education of fear. Everything is run by fear, apparently. If you don't go to school, you won't have a job, you won't make money.
Right.
If you don't have money, you will be hungry, you will not have progress.
I was really a bit shocked in terms of the way that they dealt with kids and dealt with curriculum. And, in the first year, I just constantly got called, oh, you're idealistic, And I was like, yeah, that's right. I'm a teacher. I'm supposed to be, aren't I supposed to be? One of my sisters is a teacher, and and like I said, my best friend, I've really admired them for the grind that they put in, And so, yeah, it is failing in its own way, but what's the fix? I don't know. I think kind of boutique schools and that kind of stuff could be really useful, but we're going to run into government regulation.
Oh, yeah.
And then what can we do? I would love to be able to open a small arts and languages school that also gave all of the basic curriculum of mathematics and science and everything. But, what's that really going to look like once there's any degree of success?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to come
of success.
They're going to come and stomp you on the head and say, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You're not teaching them the correct things. So, yeah, we're up against it. We're up against it, but I think when I see these young kids, I still have a lot of hope. They're a lot smarter than I realized. I learned that when I started teaching 5th grade a couple of years ago. I didn't want to. And the principal was a friend of mine, and she said, no, just please do this for me, but I swear to God, it's going to totally change your life. I swear, I did this a long time ago. I said, okay, I'll do it,
I had that experience as well.
Yeah. And these 10-year-olds were teaching me everything, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's a wonderful world. And a world of no ego, open to learning. I'm going to move on to my next question.
Okay. Don't scare me.
So the next question is, I want to talk about the spirit of age. The spirit of time, basically. I mean, basically, when you're talking about the spirit of time, we're talking about the nature of whatever that is happening in the world, the environments, the ideas, culture, globally, where is it going? So what is the spirit of time in the world these days? Or basically, what's going on these days?
I think I'm at the point of actually even questioning, like, if time is controlled. I don't necessarily believe that, but I'm saying the more I go into just the more I think outside of this system that we've been born into, etc., and the more I put effort into researching and everything, it just leads to more questions. But watching from a young age of seeing grandparents grow old, pass away, parent even, friends, it sounds cliche, but it's just like the most precious thing. And I have to always remind myself that in these moments we have with other people, loved ones especially, having any kind of negative exchange, arguments, things like that, it's really not worth it, because this thing goes very quickly. I now don't really think about it too much and worry too much. I'm just grateful that I have my health and that, people think I'm younger than I am. Sometimes that's good, I guess. But also, like you'd mentioned, ego, 10 years ago really was a time where I started to think a lot about that and start to try my best to let go of that, and just to...
What did you do about it?
I started spending a lot of time with people that didn't have the same lifestyle as me, It's like I was in this New York City hospitality business, which is just a party life. And I got to the point, like you were mentioning, owning this bar, and I was not happy. But I had everything. It looked great on the outside, but I was just not happy. And so I started seeking out other people that had a different point of view, different way of life. Didn't spend so much time in bars and chasing, material things.
Yeah.
And, but I'm very fortunate. I'm from a small town in the middle of the Mojave Desert in California, and there's a lot of people like that. So I could go and spend a little time, talk to some people that have a really great insight. Maybe they've had what seems to be a more boring life or something like that, but they're really connected in a way that I wanted to be. And so, it just, perspectives change, and everybody does. It's just like we're on a different timeline, some people.
We are. Yeah. I sometimes feel like that. Sometimes I meet someone and we have this conversation, and then I feel like, oh, wait a second, you're like 3 chapters before. Like, I've been there. Yeah. I know what you're talking about, but, it's done for me now.
Yeah. It's totally like that. It requires, in a situation like that, I really have to focus on patience and tolerance and not just be like, oh, what are you doing? It's so stupid.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's like, okay, no, it's cool. And accepting everything, knowing that people are going through things that you've already experienced and still...
It's a tough thing.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, this is like, hopefully this is supposed to make me more of an adult, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the process. Then you meet somebody that is younger, that's like has way different experience and perspective that you can learn from.
Yeah.
I have typically, yes, my friends are, I guess, older, but it's quite a mix. I have, since I've been in Turkey, I've learned so much more than I could ever have imagined from just being in this culture, even though Istanbul is, almost like an autonomous place at this point, like a city-state. It's not like if you go, to a small community or a smaller city in Turkey, of course, but I have done that. And, I've just learned so much from their perspective, the people's perspective here. I'm not going to lie, the funniest thing, this morning I was searching for old Nokia phones on Hepsiburada. I really was. I was like,
what model were you looking for?
I don't remember, like 5130,
Yeah, they were
440 lira. I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, good deal.
So the texting's hard, but maybe I'll do it. Really.
Nice.
It's a less than 1 megapixel camera. It's like 0.03 megapixels. I'm reaching that point, but I don't have to do it, but I know I could, I could just drop it. I love deactivating Instagram, deactivating Twitter, and just forgetting about it. Months go by sometimes. And it's like, I only go back on just because I know people are messaging me from overseas.
You feel very responsible.
Yeah, I have to check in and that kind of thing. But, who knows where it goes next, really,
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting, I guess.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I think we
assume
create
it's going to
that.
be interesting. Yeah, I have the last part. I have some words. I'm going to tell them, and maybe you can comment on them.
Maybe.
Okay. Fear.
Motivation. It's the great motivator of people, whether for good or bad. Unfortunately, it's the driver of all compliance. It's why people do what they do most, unfortunately. But walking through it is that's when you feel the most free, because it's like imagine the door. There's some fire burning in the doorway, and it's like, oh my God, I don't want to walk through the fire. What's the worst that can happen? Think about it. Maybe I'll get burned a little bit if I go really fast. I'll probably be okay. On the other side of that, fear that's where I in my own idealism is where I find freedom. When something is like that in your face like that, it's a powerful thing to start to let go of it, let go of all the fear and stuff. People react differently towards you too. It's like if a police officer comes up and tries to, push you around and intimidate you, but your heart's not even beating fast. If you can get yourself there, that scares them.
Yes.
Why isn't this guy scared of me? Wait a minute.
Wait a second. Who is this guy?
Yeah, and it's just like,
What do
you want from me?
I thought about it, to be
honest.
honest.
What are you going to do, beat me up? What did I do? Oh, okay, go.
Yeah.
It happens. It's an energy thing, I guess.
Nice. Moving on to the next word, pleasure.
I think the sea and walking around or hiking around in some beautiful mountains where I don't have to see a human footprint,
Except for you.
Except for me and my loved ones, I was swimming last week, It's like no one else is. It's freezing, but I love it. I really do. As painful as it is for the first couple of minutes, so it's very pleasing. Yeah.
Nice. Next one, change.
It's perpetual. I think if you deny it, or if I were to deny it and try to prevent things from happening, then I might as well be walking in the wrong direction, swimming against the current, That's what we're experiencing all the time. So it has to be embraced, but I believe for myself and everybody else that we can actually really direct our lives. We can really put ourselves where we really want to be. If we can eliminate the fears and, be willing to take risks and fail, because change is ongoing. It's happening right now, So it's like try my best not to worry and go with the flow, find it and go with it.
I see. And the last word, freedom.
It's like all of those things kind of combined. Freedom for me it's not like freedom is, I think most people would say that that's what they want the most. I mean, it seems like what people want the most in their words. But I don't think their actions demonstrate that too much. I think because of fear, people want to be led. But freedom is like peace for me, It's not easy at all. It's not easy, but it's also not something that I feel has to really even be fought for. There's a lot of examples in history, or at least the little history that we're taught about people that maybe they're sitting in a jail cell for half their life, but they have peace in their mind and they feel free in a sense. So it definitely starts with ourselves within, but, on a more practical level, it's just less restrictions and less regulations for me. I don't need to be told what to do or how to live my life. If I'm cool with myself, if my side of the street is clean, I can do it, I can handle it. But a lot of people, because of media, propaganda, fear, they get sucked into this idea that there's some group of authority that just knows better than them, you know. And the more I've looked into it, the more I realize, no, these are mostly criminal yo-yos that are just in an endorsed gang of some kind. And they've got, it's like we've got, these people are at the power switch right now in a lot of the world, and it's not a good thing. So the more I kind of don't take these sort of politicians and political figures and celebrities seriously, the more I ignore them, the better my life seems to get and the more free I feel. So that's just where I want to go and keep going in that direction.
Great.
What's it mean to you, David? What's freedom mean to you?
Freedom. It's obviously it's very subjective, I guess, the concept of freedom. It is, and I think freedom is a concept that in its essence has no limit as a concept. A removal of every limit would be freedom, and I think it's an impossible concept. Mm-hmm. Then in the context of society, we try to define freedom, mm-hmm. and we try to limit freedom, and apparently, whoever is the winner of the world, whoever won more wars than other countries, mm-hmm. will tell us what should be the limit of freedom.
That's right.
And anything above and anything below would be illiberalism, probably, would be something against freedom.
Right.
So I think now in the context of society, freedom is a tool to define the limits of people's lifestyle and everything.
Sure.
But for me personally, in my head, I guess when I think of simplicity, I remember when I was a kid, we were going to picnic with my family. Mm. And then the Middle Eastern families, they have this thing, they prepare some sandwiches for on the way. Moms usually make them. And then they put them in a plastic. And then there's this sandwich with the cheese and tomato and those stuff. And then when you're in your car as a kid, that smell, when you open up the sandwich, that smell hits you. Mm. And then that's like the most beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And that moment is very simple. Mm-hmm. It's very precious. Mm-hmm. And I think I found freedom in that. Mm-hmm. So if you can somehow achieve, to me, if I can somehow achieve the concept of freedom by the most simple way possible, then I think I achieved real freedom.
Yeah.
I think real freedom is the joy of simplicity.
Yeah. I do too. It's like a lot of letting go required.
Yeah, a lot of letting go required.
It's like
tough choices.
Yeah, like what kind of spoons and forks and knives do I want to get for my new house?
Oh yeah.
It's like I'll eat it with my hands, But I really like this color of things. And that's all good and everything, but yeah, like letting go of all that stuff, appreciating it. Appreciating being able to have nice things and stuff, but like also knowing I don't need it,
Certainly.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Yeah. And smells too. Smells are important.
Smells are very important.
Big trigger.
Yes,
yeah.
Of course. Do you have any favorite smell in the nature?
I guess I know I don't know. It's like flowers. I mean, being in the place that I live now, there's just so much flora around, And I actually, there's a lavender plant and rosemary plant, just wild, right around me.
Wonderful.
I just drove back a couple of days ago and just picked some of it and just set it in my car, just so I could smell that.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. Like, this is just, this wasn't really planted, it's just here.
Of course.
It's amazing.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Doing this. It was definitely a pleasure.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. Sorry.
Not at all. You did a great job. Thank you guys for watching this episode. We usually talk about different things every episode, and today we decided to talk about some concepts with Scott. Please, comment if you feel like it. If you don't, just don't. And take care. Have a good day. Bye.